I've always loved Grimm's fairy tales. They're creepy, surreal, and surprisingly dark if your only experience with fairy tales are Disney's adaptations. They're full of odd tangents, non sequiturs, and usually have a meandering plotline that is entertaining in the moment, but makes absolutely no sense once the story is over. Today, I bring you one of my favorites, The Three Snake Leaves. We start off in classic fairy tale territory with a father who is so poor he can't feed his son. To rectify this whole starvation situation, the son enlists in the army. His unit goes off to fight in the war, and in their very first battle, a whole bunch of them are shot, including the commander. The survivors want to flee, but our young hero is just so charismatic that he rallies them, and they win the battle. The king is so impressed that he showers the man in gold. This turns out to be bad for the man, because he meets the king's daughter. The text calls her very beautiful, but also very strange, which is code for totally insane. She's taken this vow that she will only marry someone who will bury themselves alive if she dies first, and she'll do the same for them. You might think that this is some trick to discourage suitors, but it isn't. It's a love test, based off the stellar logic that if you really loved someone, you wouldn't want to continue living once they died. Yikes. As soon as this man sets eyes on this totally sane lady, he becomes completely infatuated, and they get married. They do manage to live happily for some years, but death comes for all, and the princess goes down first. Our hero is locked up in her crypt and given some token provisions to make his slow, torturous death last a little longer. Seems counterintuitive to me. I mean, they want him to starve to death. Why even bother giving him some bread? What the hell's that supposed to do? I mean, the wine makes sense. At least he can get drunk. One night, as he's staring aimlessly into space, a white snake makes its way into the vault and heads right to the princess's body. Now, personally, I wouldn't care if an animal munched on the body of someone who could sign me to such a prolonged, horrible death. But our protagonist is made of different stuff. He kills the snake immediately while saying something heroically generic about protecting the body of his loved one from an innocent snake who is far too small to possibly eat an entire princess. However, this snake has a friend. Once the other snake sees its dead companion, it rushes to get 3 leaves. It puts the cut-up snake back together and puts the leaves over the wounds. Why the man lets this happen, I have no idea. I can only assume he's too lightheaded from his ordeals. The dead snake comes back to life, and the serpents hurry off together, abandoning the leaves for some reason. Our hero puts 2 of the leaves on the princess's eyes and 1 on her mouth, and lo and behold, she rises from the dead. Now, obviously, since the princess is alive, nobody needs to be buried alive anymore, so they're set free. The man gives the snake leaves to a servant of his and tells him to keep them close. However, there's always a catch with resurrection. The princess's love for her husband didn't come back with her. On the next sea voyage the couple makes, she has an affair with the captain. A bunch of physical exertion with someone she barely knows isn't enough for her though. She wants to marry the captain now, and that can only happen if her husband is out of the way. This is a society without divorce, so the only solution is to throw him overboard while he's asleep, which they do. Soldier Boy is a really heavy sleeper. Luckily, his servant sees the whole thing and sets off in a rowboat to fish him out of the water. The servant brings our hero back to life, and they row home and actually manage to beat the princess there, even though she's on a huge ship with an experienced captain and not in some dinky little rowboat. The king is confused by their story, but opts to hide them in a secret chamber and waits for his daughter to come home so he can get her side. Her side goes something like, "My husband got sick and died, but thankfully this amazing sea captain was there to support me. What a horrible thing to have happened." Then, the king reveals the hidden hero and servant. The princess begs forgiveness, but it's not enough for the king. Since she killed her husband, even though he went along with her insane vow, he puts his daughter and her new lover on a ship peppered with holes and sends them out to sea so they can sink. Seems kinda ruthless and honestly like a waste of a good ship, but hey, what do I know?